and India is not in this game. Yet, globally respected American political scientist John Mearsheimer was recently in Delhi for a television summit. I'm assuming that this was his first visit to India. He was asked many questions, but three of them were specific to India. So what I wish to do is pick up his responses to these three questions and expand on them. So the first question specific to India, the professor was asked is India a great power? He said no, India is not a great power. There are only three great powers in the world. They are America, China and Russia. He added that India could be classified as an aspiring great power. I will argue that India is not even an aspiring great power. Realistically speaking, India can best be classified as an aspiring major power which is rungs below a great power. For example, a major power is nations like Germany, France, Japan, South Korea. And why I say that is that a great power, in my assessment, it has four fundamental attributes. Now, the professor spoke of two attributes, and the two attributes he gave are a population, a sizable population, and second he said wealth. These two things should be there for a nation to become a great power. And then he compared India with China and said that China also at one time had the population size like India. It did not have wealth. Once China became wealthy, it became a great power. India still is not wealthy, so it is not a great power. These are his response. Now, I say that let's start with the four attributes. And the first is population, as the professor spoke about. Population per se is actually a liability unless it is an asset. And to be an asset, the population should contribute, it should have a value, and it should enhance national power, building of the nation. So the first thing that a population should have is a system of a good formal education. We know that the system of education in India is learning by rote. What is required is a system where creative thinking, creative arts, they are encouraged. And alongside, there is a focus on STEM subjects. STEM, we know, is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Many would know that as far as China is concerned, as early as 1979, when their leader Deng Xiaoping was there and he gave four modernizations for building China, one of the modernizations was a focus, a budget, and a push to science and technology. Similarly, many would be aware that in Russia, mathematics is given importance right from the primary school. Now, all this is not there in India. In India, formal education does not get the budget, does not get the attention that it deserves, especially to meet the present times. Now, there is a lot of focus on skill. For example, Prime Minister Skill India, but skill by itself will not be enough to make a nation strong. So much for population. Now, the second attribute that the professor spoke of is wealth. Today, when we talk of generating wealth, we are basically talking about the new age technologies, because we know that the third industrial revolution, it started in America, it's already there, and the world now is shifting to the fourth industrial revolution, which is about artificial intelligence and new disruptive technologies. Now, as far as China is concerned, China is already the manufacturing hub of the world. It is the global factory of manufacturing. What it is doing is, it has to now transit to the fourth industrial revolution, and in so many areas, it is not only competing, it is ahead in the competition of America. For example, recently, China has just concluded their two sessions of 2024 of this year, two sessions, new productive forces. Now, Chinese new productive forces, or this term which is specific to Xi Jinping, has three attributes. One is, it is about new energy. We know this is about electric vehicles, solar and wind panels, batteries, in all these areas. China is ahead of America and the world. The second thing, which is equally important, is about moving to industrial internet. That means bringing artificial intelligence and disruptive technologies into manufacturing. And the backbone of that, the industrial internet, is 5G. We know that China has already rolled out 5G ahead of the Americans. And the other things, when we talk of the industrial internet, they are blockchain, they are artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and data. So the two key things here for industrial internet are computing and data. Now, since China is a big country, its eastern China is developed, whereas the western China, which is the China facing India, is still developing and underdeveloped. They are looking for a uniformity across China to bring in the industrial internet throughout the country. And for that, in June of 2022, they came up with the need for a national computing network, which has to be finished by 2025. And this is based on the concept of what the Chinese called Eastern data and Western computing. Now, East, as I said, is developed. So East has a lot of computing. It needs data. So more data centers have to come up in East China. And West China, which is underdeveloped, it has a lot of data, it lacks computing power. So more and more computing clusters are coming up there. So this is what is happening as far as industrial internet is concerned. So when people say that Chinese economy is nosediving, it is actually transiting. It is transiting to the industrial internet. It has a lot of other issues, but this is the key issue where the focus is being put. And the third thing about this new productive forces the Chinese have put in these technologies, which pertain to quantum technologies, new materials, biopharmaceuticals, gene technology, then exploration of deep sea, space and air. These are the areas. So this is the second thing. This is how you generate wealth. And India is not in this game yet, because India is at a very preliminary stage of artificial intelligence and disruptive technologies. The third attribute, according to me, is having military power. This is something that a great power should have. Now, when we talk of military power, and since India is focused on the Indian Ocean region, let me just say a few words on maritime power, because that is the key. You see, if a nation wants to have naval power, it has to also have maritime power. When we talk of maritime power, China today has the largest shipbuilding in the world by tonnage. Then there are out of 10 big ports in the world, seaports, 7 are in China. Then Chinese vessels with the Chinese flag, 26% of commercial trade is done by those vessels. India is not in this game, or it is very little in this game. Next, let's see. As far as commercial shipping is concerned, many people may not know that India's commercial ship, when they have to do repairs, there is no repair for them available in India itself. And they actually go to countries like Germany, to Dubai and to Singapore for the repair of commercial ships. So this is really the state of the maritime power, the commercial power. Now, when we look at the naval power, then again, the Chinese today have something like 375 ships, which is the largest naval ships in the world. So they have the largest navy, they have the largest coast guard, they have the largest maritime militia. Now, India is not in this game, so it cannot classify even as a major power. And the last and the most important thing perhaps is about having a vibrant defense industry, something that India does not have. Despite all the talk of the last 10 years, see the result. The latest report of SIPRI. Now, SIPRI is a very prestigious global think tank based in Sweden. It comes out with a yearly report on defense services across the world. Once again this year, in their report, they have said that India is the largest arms importer in the world. I don't have to say anything more than that. So when we look at all the 4 attributes that make a great power, realistically speaking, that is population, that is wealth or technology rather, which will generate wealth, military power or maritime power, and we look at the defense industrial complex, India is not in the game.